Deanna Groom is a professional maritime historian who has been using the archives of Wales to research the sinking of over 100 ships in a huge storm that hit the coast of Wales in 1859. The biggest loss of life occurred here, just off the coast of Anglesey, when the Royal Charter ran aground.
It's a beautiful, quiet, peaceful day today, with hardly any wind and hardly any waves. But in the 25th of October 1859, one of the worst storms that has ever been known hit this coast. And the Royal Charter had just reached its last half day of its voyage back towards Liverpool. Even with its engines going full steam ahead, it couldn't stop being driven relentlessly against these rocks here. Eventually the waves were so strong and the wind so terrible that the ship was actually broken in two, and a very short time after that it just kind of went to pieces.
As a town with a strong seafaring history, Caernarfon Archives has a wealth of resources for anyone wishing to look into our maritime past.
I've been researching the Royal Charter and the many other shipwrecks that were lost during the gale. To carry out this work we really couldn't do without the archives network in Wales, and that you really feel like you are touching history. This is the beautiful country church that was in the upkeep of the Reverend Stephen Hughes. And it was here that many of the bodies of the victims of the Royal Charter shipwreck were brought. And what was so remarkable about what the Reverend Stephen Hughes did was he made meticulous details about whether they were male or female, the colour of their hair, the colour of their eyes, what kind of clothes they were wearing. This is really to help the families try and identify whether their loved ones had been survived. And it was really a remarkable act of kind of charity, of kind of Christian duty that went on, and this is where Charles Dickens actually visited the church, and he saw the work that the Reverend was doing, and he recorded it in his book, The Uncommercial Traveller. Yes, so there are lots of really poignant graves in amongst this graveyard. This one here is from a George Edmund. So there is a lovely inscription on this gravestone, and it reads, "He was a kind friend, father and husband, and his last moments were passed in cheering his companions in misfortune." And from the very few survivors that there were, you get the sense of all the people on board were doing these incredibly heroic acts. So they were trying to get people ashore, or they were trying to maintain sort of spirits between the ship coming on shore and it finally breaking up, and everybody really going into the water. So the staffs in each of the archives are extremely helpful and usually very knowledgeable. These runs of shipping records are incredibly heavy, and in a day we might ask them to get 8 or 9 of these volumes out. So they're very, it's almost like a production line. So they're wonderful on the day, and also for me, getting out of the office and going to art is a real treat.
Yma yn Archifdy Caernarfon, mae yna ystod eang o ddogfennau yn ymwneud â hanes morwrol y sir. Mae yna ddogfennau yn y casgliadau sy'n rhaid syniad o effaith y diwydiant morwrol ar gymunedau lleol. Ar wahân, mae'r dogfennau yn rhaid chydig iawn o wybodaeth, ond gyda'i gilydd mae modd dangos pictiwr llawn sydd oedd cymuned yn byw ag ati, a mae hynny'n wir am bob archif. I gyd efo'i gilydd, maen nhw yn creu pictiwr lawn sy'n dangos sut oedd cymunedau'n byw a effaith wahanol feysydd ar y cymunedau hynny.
It is scary once you're starting out, but it's like a drug, you get hooked on it. Don't be put off, making the start, because once people who do local history research, or they research their family trees, and once they get started, it's a joy and it's a pleasure, and it's that trail of discovery which is so really, really exciting, and it comes from being able to access these wonderful resources in the archives offices.